The stars and number one options on your favorite NBA team get the for better or worse incentive of having fans and media obsess over them. So this video gives the deserved attention to the players who never seem to get any. Here's the most underrated player from every NBA team, ranked. Shout out to Ian, who goes off the board to say if Embiid can stay healthy, he's the best player in the NBA. A bold take for sure. Questions coming up for next vid shoutout. Get your comments into Compete and Community Speaks. Now into the ranking. Number 30, Miles Bridges of the Charlotte Hornets, and Miles again finds himself at 30 just like he was in my Every Team's Best Young Player ranked video. That's not a knock on him whatsoever, he's still a rookie, but you never hear his name mentioned among the fairly impressive 2018 draft class. Despite being the number 12 pick, Bridges was one of just 5 rookies in 2018-19 to average over 7 points per game on over 45% shooting from the field. The 21-year-old, and for nearly all of last season, 20-year-old, was in the dunk contest, and in-game, he threw down 71 dunks, which was 37th best in the entire NBA. Pretty solid rookie year for the Michigan State product, Bridges, and currently the best hope for the sad Jordan-run Hornets. Number 29, Mikal Bridges of the Phoenix Suns. Back-to-back Bridges leading off the vid seems too odd to be coincidental, yet the, in this case, right-handed small forward, Mikal's talent level is extremely similar to Miles, and Mikal's also an overlooked member of 2018's draft class. Last year's number 10 pick quietly led all rookies with 1.6 steals and 2.7 deflections per game. He could be a future lockdown wing defender, as in 20 straight games last year, he had at least 1 steal, which is the longest streak by a rookie since Chris Paul in the 05-06 season. On offense, the man made some ridiculous shots off the dribble, so look out for Mikal Bridges to become an extremely solid two-way wing for Phoenix in the coming years. Number 28, Landry Shamet of the LA Clippers. Traded from Philly to LA midway through the season in the Tobias Harris trade, Shamet went on to be an extreme bright spot for Doc and the Clippers. The rookie sniper hit 4 threes in their historic Game 2 31-point comeback against the Warriors, proving on the biggest stage that he's here to stay in the NBA. He'll be forgotten in the midst of an expectedly beastly Clipper squad with elite talent all over the place. His deadly shooting, though, which reached 45% from deep in 25 games after his move to LA in 2018-19, is exactly what this new Clipper squad needs. Kawhi, PG, Beverly, Lou Will, even Montrezl Harrell, they're in desperate need of a man to kick out to and space out the defense, and Shamet's game can flawlessly fill that role for them. Number 27, Willie CauleyStein of the Golden State Warriors. CauleyStein's ability that he displayed as a Sacramento King to catch tough passes in the pick and roll and explode to the rim after that seemed to be a solid fit with the Warriors. Add another great move to the resume for the Warriors front office because Golden State got Willie to Oakland on a veteran's minimum deal. They were utterly lacking for productive minutes at the center position. Cousins' ego and demand for post-ups hurt his fit with the up-and-down Warriors. The pace was just way too fast for Boogie, and Willie's bulk doesn't compare to Cousins, either does his speed or ability to get up and down the floor, so a great pickup for the Bay. Number 26, Dillon Brooks of the Memphis Grizzlies. You'll rightfully be focused on the Ja Morant show and his pick-and-pop game with their 2018 number 7 pick, Jaren Jackson, maybe even Jonas Valanciunas.
Very nice. I like you.
Don't forget about my fellow Canadian and a man who, before getting his second season shortened to 18 games with a toe injury and surgery, looked legitimately like a future elite NBA scorer. Dillon Brooks I may have a bit of bias towards, but regardless of him reaching star status, his playmaking and offensive IQ will make him a great future piece for the young Grizzlies. Number 25, Cedi Osman of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Osman owned the 2019 FIBA World Cup, averaging 20.5 points on 50% shooting, helping Turkey to overtime against USA. Unfortunately, with a chance to go up 3 in OT, he contributed to Turkey going 0 of 4 from the line in the last 10 seconds of the game by missing 2 free throws. It went on to be Turkey's second loss by 1 point in the tournament, so being just one of 3 NBA players on his national team and the clear number 1 option, said he was pretty impressive in 5 games of the group stage. Entering his 3rd season in Cleveland, he's been eligible for a 4-year, $48 million contract extension with the Cavs since July 18th. Seems like that would be a fair price considering his NBA development thus far, so we'll see if Cedi gets paid before the extension deadline. Number 24, Terrence Ross of the Orlando Magic. T. Ross is a grizzled 7-year veteran at this point, far removed from his dunk contest days and his dope entrance with Drake in 2014. Nowadays, T. Ross is helping a developing Magic squad to better days. He set a career high in scoring with 15.1 points per game, and shot a career second-best 38.3% from three-point range. At 28 years of age, the times of looking at Terrence as a future star are behind us. Yet he's a dangerous option from long range, and he proved with performances in the past as a Raptor and recently as a Magic that he can explode scoring the basketball if he gets a rhythm. Number 23, Bam Adebayo of the Miami Heat. This is another player known for his supreme athleticism. However, Adebayo devotes his hops to dominating defensively. The ability Bam has to stick with forwards and even guards out on the perimeter make him a top defensive prospect at any position in the NBA. Watch how he clamps up Curry on this play, moving his feet laterally like a 6-footer. He was 7th, just ahead of Gasol and Embiid in defensive rating among centers last year. Yet he's not even vaguely in the same discussion as those two guys in terms of talent. Not that he's better or necessarily even close yet to those guys, but yet's the key word here. Adebayo could be very special when he's fully developed. Number 22, Thomas Bryant of the Washington Wizards. Thomas goes from a Laker bench warmer in 2017-18 to putting up per 36-minute numbers of 18 points and 10 rebounds a night in Washington. Bryant shot a league-leading 68.5% on two-pointers and had a game of shooting 14 of 14 from the field, which was 4th most in league history for field goals without missed in a single game. It's the three-point shooting era, but there's always going to be a spot for 6'11", 250-pound centers that can catch and finish almost anything. Despite his drastic improvement, Thomas didn't get his due respect, and he's still most likely unknown among casual fans. Number 21, George Hill of the Milwaukee Bucks, who's definitely in the stage of being a senior citizen in the NBA. But you can tell he's hungry to retire a champion because all throughout the 2019 playoffs, Hill stepped up his play from the regular season in big-time fashion. There's very few point guards you want filling in time for your starter in the playoffs than George Hill. He was never an all-star in his prime, and he's still overlooked to this day, but the playoff experience and IQ is matched by very few players. Number 20, Derrick White of the San Antonio Spurs. Like USA, for White, it was a massive struggle at the World Cup. Derrick wasn't efficient whatsoever playing under his NBA coach Pop. That can't distract us from his brilliant playoff debut last spring in a hard-fought 7-game series loss to Denver to put the Spurs up 2-1. The second-year 25-year-old scored 36 points on 15 of 21 shooting from the field. White's an extremely creative slasher, and he's got mesmerizing speed, which keeps big men who struggle to move their feet completely off balance. His three-pointer's already solid, but it's got to improve, which is why he's only ranked 20th. Number 19, Luke Kennard of the Detroit Pistons, and other than Andre Drummond, the last All-Star the Pistons drafted was the infamous Mehmet Okur in 2001. Kennard may be their best chance to end that streak. Luka's of course drawn Ginobili comparisons, being that he's a white lefty shooting guard, but only from a Detroit-based Fansided.com article. Generally, the 23-year-old Kennard is fairly irrelevant in the eyes of the majority of fans and all of the mainstream media. However, Luke's age, current pro progression, and shooting make him a breakout candidate next season. If he steps up his scoring significantly, then he can solve a lot of the Pistons' offensive woes. So definitely keep your eye out for his 2020 development. Number 18, Kevin Huerter of the Atlanta Hawks. Trae Young's the man crowned as the new face of the Atlanta Hawks with his three-point shooting and ball-handling wizardry. John Collins, I just predicted, will break out next season, so the Hawks' 21-year-old shooting guard Kevin Huerter is their underrated representative. He's known as a deep-range specialist, and his sneaky quick release is a big reason for him being ranked as high as number 18. But Kevin's an effective and deadly when he gets going pick-and-roll ball handler, and he's incredibly smart in his decision-making when attacking after getting a screen. This is by no means just a shooter like his reputation entails. Huerter's damn well-rounded offensively and can create a good amount for himself and his teammates, as he was 6th among all rookies in assists. Kevin's got a long way to go before he's a finished product. He's already very solid. Number 17, Joe Harris of the Brooklyn Nets. Meet the reigning three-point contest winner and leader in three-point percentage in 2018-19 in front of any other player by 2.5%. And man, it'll be fun to see him catching and shooting next to Durant and Kyrie, but next year, of course, it'll just be Uncle Drew. Shot creator D'Angelo Russell had all the space in the world on his drives with Harris next to him, and opposing defenses, once Durant gets back, have to make a decision because LeVert, Durant, and Kyrie are all going to be attacking the basket, and all three are capable of beating their defender off the dribble. So the decision is, do you leave a 47% three-point shooter in Joe Harris to double those creators? Harris is an incredibly talented shooter, and he'll make that a tough call. Number 16, Dillon Brooks of the Dallas Mavericks. Porzingis and Doncic will be the center of attention in Dallas, and just like his entire career has been, 2019-20 is likely another year where Dillon Brooks is far from the spotlight. The value Wright will bring to specifically Luka Doncic handling the basketball will be a prominent factor for the 2020 Mavs. Dillon's the most talented, underrated player mentioned so far, though, because of his length and activity on defense. He's got a near 6'8" wingspan, which at point guard allows him to be a passing lane menace and maul his opponents. So Dillon Brooks may not have the monster stats at any point in his career, but his perimeter defense and ability to productively relieve Luka from handling and playmaking make him overlooked and therefore underrated. Number 15, Malik Beasley of the Denver Nuggets. Yet again, a young athletic phenom graces this all-team ranking. There's an abundance of them in today's NBA, and Malik Beasley uses his gifts in all different areas to score the ball. What stands out for Beasley, other than his jumping, is his range all the way from the basket to the three-point line, from his mid-range game to runners from 5 to 10 feet, and then his smooth release from deep, which he gets a ton of elevation on. Malik just defines offensive versatility. Combine those qualities with Malik's first step and explosiveness, and that makes the sky the limit for his potential. Number 14, Danny Green of the LA Lakers. Ask a friend or yourself who led Toronto to a title, and there's rightfully 5 to 6 players you could name in front of the now two-time champ Danny Green. His shooting struggles in the finals put his Raptors' impact under the radar, which is really disappointing because everything Green brought from a winning mentality to lockdown defense didn't show up on the stat sheet. And before the finals, he was damn solid shooting the ball all throughout the regular season and in the playoffs. In fact, he was right behind Harris in three-point shooting in the regular season. Green's a valuable 3-and-D vet on and off the floor, and Laker fans should be excited he chose LeBron over Kawhi. Number 13, Josh Richardson of the Philadelphia 76ers. Steady increases of 4 points per game every season since the beginning of his career, leading to last season's career-high 16 points a night. Still can't get Jay Rich any attention. And what a savvy return in the Jimmy Butler deal he was in a sign-and-trade to Miami. Richardson can shoot, score, and defend at the two-guard, making up for a lot of what Jimmy did, but definitely fitting in better with Simmons, Embiid, Harris, and now Horford. Josh is a very capable and, more importantly, more than happy to be spot-up shooter, and his ego carries far less weight than Butler's. Number 12, Bogdan Bogdanovich of the Sacramento Kings. One of the stars of FIBA in Beijing a few weeks ago, Bogdan scored 23 points per night with Serbia, which made him the World Cup's leading scorer. Meanwhile, in the NBA, he's already in the background in playing in Sacramento, but such is the case also with his position in the depth chart. Buddy Hield's the Kings' starting shooting guard. He and Fox have become known as the future Sacktown backcourt. However, when he gets going, the Kings' backup, Bogdan Bogdanovich, looks like a young Klay Thompson out there. That's what he looked like the entirety of the World Cup, so don't be surprised if he breaks out next year. Number 11, Enes Kanter of the Boston Celtics. Replacing Al Horford with Enes Kanter for the Boston Celtics is a step down without a thought, but fans and media tend to dismiss Enes Kanter's impact for his lack of defense. Yes, he struggles with his lateral quickness, but he's not terrible guarding in the post, and he's an absolute beast when he's backing down on offense in the post. For Portland this past spring, his play adequately replaced Yusuf Nurkic, as Kanter's double-double averages had a massive impact on Portland moving on to the West Finals. Now, with a ton of high-volume shooters surrounding him in Boston, Kanter should be able to go ham on the offensive boards like he did for Dame and CJ, and as he has throughout his entire career. Number 10, Mitchell Robinson of the New York Knicks. The brightest New York basketball spotlight is undoubtedly going to be shined on RJ Barrett, as any Knick lottery pick would experience. Mitchell Robinson doesn't know anything about that, as he was the 36th overall pick in 2018, with the rest of fans focused likely on last year's 9th pick, Kevin Knox, and the overpaid Julius Randle and Bobby Portis. Robinson could become an afterthought. Mitchell's ranked this high for a reason, though. First off, his improvement in the post I expect him to have, and his overall offensive game, and his already elite defense. Mitchell's used to being overlooked. He shocked everyone last year by leading all rookies in blocks by over 1 a game, averaging 2.4 per night, proving he'll be a dominant rim protector for years to come in the NBA. Number 9, Hassan Whiteside of the Portland Trail Blazers. Back in 2014, the post-LeBron era Miami Heat were struggling, and Hassan Whiteside was signed from the D-League to fill a big hole for them at center. He came in and did exactly that, and then averages of 17 and 14 in 2016-17 still got him limited league-wide respect. In the past 2 seasons, in 7 fewer minutes a night than his breakout 16-17 year, Hassan's become the most statistically valuable center in the entire NBA. His off-court persona, including drama with a respected owner in Pat Riley, and his lack of a jumper on the court are probably the reason for the lack of his legitimate reputation. However, his size when holding down Miami's paint proved to be damn intimidating for slashers. Now he gets to set big body screens for Dame and CJ as a Trailblazer. We'll see if Whiteside's a good fit in Portland. Number 8, Robert Covington of the Minnesota Timberwolves. The first of 2 of the NBA's most impressive 3-and-D players in this top 10 is Robert Covington. Before his momentum was slowed due to a knee injury and playing just 35 games this past season, Robert was 7th at his position in defensive rating. You won't find many perimeter defenders who are as fundamentally sound as Covington in terms of his stance, positioning, and activity on defense. The 28-year-old had a 4-year college career, went undrafted to the D-League, rebuilt himself amidst the process in Philly, and now he's a productive starting stretch 4-man, next to Karl-Anthony Towns in Minneapolis. Number 7, Thaddeus Young of the Chicago Bulls. Every year, Thad Young fills the role his team expects from him, and every year, he gets no attention. Sure, he's never been a star-caliber power forward, and he's past the prime of his career, but Thad's still extremely consistent, giving you 2 threes a game at a 35% clip from deep range, and shooting nearly 53% from the field overall last year. Young's also extremely durable, as he's missed a combined 19 games since 2015-16, and since the 08-09 season averaged at least 11 points, 5 rebounds, and a steal per game. Unfortunately, most of his career has been spent on a lowly roster. He's got a chance to really help out the young Bulls in 2020. He's a great mentor for Lauri Markkanen, so Thaddeus Young was one of the more underrated signings this offseason for Chicago because he's one of the most underappreciated players in the modern era. Number 6, PJ Tucker of the Houston Rockets. Just about equally valuable as Harden and Paul for Houston last postseason was PJ, as the man logged 40 minutes a night, was tasked with the toughest options to defend, yet still had enough energy to put up solid percentages from the field. Out of any wing defender in the league, Tucker's combination of bruising physicality mixed with unrelenting pressure is one of a kind. Offensively, he's nearly automatic shooting threes from the corner, so his value's gonna last for a few more years. He is 34 though, so father time's inevitably around the bend. Number 5, Danilo Gallinari of the OKC Thunder. Coming off a brilliantly efficient performance for Italy at the World Cup, as well as a Clipper campaign where he averaged nearly 20 points per night, Gallo's found new life in his NBA career at age 31. He's been injury-prone throughout his entire career, most notably tearing his ACL in 2013-14. The bounce back has now come full circle, as Danilo led all forwards in three-point percentage in his astonishing season last year. He should mesh nicely with Chris Paul and the now developing Thunder. Number 4, JJ Redick of the New Orleans Pelicans. One of the main factors that kept the Sixers afloat against the eventual champs was their 6'4" deadly three-point specialist Redick. JJ shot a stellar 41% from deep in their 7-game showdown with Toronto. That was plus 2% from what he did in 76 regular season games, which proves the 14-year vet Redick realizes the moment and has the supreme focus to come through even more in the biggest moments. This is a man who's been in the playoffs every season of his career. Zion has next to him maybe the most consistent weapon from long range in the NBA, a sneaky solid defender, and a valuable locker room presence. New Orleans picking up the 21st best three-point shooter in NBA history, and soon to be much higher than that, is coming off a career-high 18 points per night at the age of 34. Question is, how much is left in the tank for JJ? Right now, seems like a solid amount. Number 3, Kyle Lowry of the Toronto Raptors, a point guard whose numbers and flashiness make NBA fans across social media hate on him when he receives an All-Star appearance every season or has a bad game in the playoffs. Yes, he gets some respect with the All-Star selections from coaches across the league, but in the basketball world, us fans seem to never acknowledge Kyle as a top 3 to 5 point guard in the NBA, yet he's exactly that. Without seeing much recognition for it, Lowry scored the first 11 points on the road in Game 6 of the Finals, with 4 of 5 Hampton 5 members on the floor, something the Rockets and Blazers miserably failed to capitalize on. Kyle averaged a solid 16 points, 7 boards, and nearly 2 steals per game throughout the entire Finals, but finished with 26 in the Raps' title-clinching win, which he hasn't received nearly enough attention for. You're staring at the best charge taker in basketball, a player who won't hesitate to dive on the floor. Lowry's a complete pest defensively and a top point guard in the NBA. Number 2, Bogdan Bogdanovich of the Utah Jazz. The second-ranked player and second Bogdanovich on this list, Bojan, formerly of the underdog Pacers who forced LeBron to 7 games and nearly beat the Cavs in 2018, to another team that'll be an underdog in the Utah Jazz. Next to Donovan Mitchell, it's not just Bojan's range and ability to stretch the floor that's going to help. It's his all-around scoring relief and overall focus he takes from the defense, which really helps a top offensive option. Oladipo could tell you all about that. Soon we'll see the effect Bogdanovich will have on D. Mitch, and if they can go any further than the second round in 2020. Number 1, Malcolm Brogdon of the Indiana Pacers. You'd think being the most valuable point guard on the number 1 team in the East last year would give you a fantastic league-wide reputation, and for people to accept the fact that you got paid $80 million. But of course, on the internet, no one's given a pass, and there's still speculation and expectations that Malcolm will be looked at as overpaid. Brogdon's numbers compared to the Bucks starting point guard Eric Bledsoe, when Malcolm was rusty, returning from injury in the East Finals, were significantly better than Eric's. He became the most relied upon Milwaukee point guard in the clutch, and still entering just his 4th year, is only getting better with experience. He was more than worth his contract, a bargain if anything, and should be highly respected with his game. Don't miss any of my NBA stories, lists, and predictions all season and year long by making it splash on the subscribe button, and be sure to answer the shoutout question. This was your boy D Flow. I'll see you next video.